All right. Put that on and watch them. Now I'll show you what I already know.
It's a crock of shit.
Hi, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to, point out what just happened there, what that dude said. I don't remember all the guys' names. Anyways, McCready says, now I'm going to show you what I already know. So he's going to prove that he's not the thing. And the other dude says, it's a crock of shit. So what's he saying? It's pretty ambiguous, actually, what he's saying. What could he be saying? It's a crock of shit. He could be saying, he could just be kind of making, he could just be talking about the entire situation, that he's sitting there tied up, and, he's sticking needles into blood, He just could be saying that the whole thing is ridiculous. He also could be saying, he could be saying something like, it's a crock of shit that McCready is testing himself, It doesn't seem like very good experimental practices, especially in a situation like that where he's got a flamethrower on everybody and he's in control, and it seemed like it could be more kind of insulated against possible interference if they had someone else test McCready's blood, but he's testing it himself, so he could be saying something like that. It's a crock of shit. He could also be making a claim about his theory, about McCready's theory, that his theory is a crock of shit. His theory being that if-then statement in the first premise that we saw, that if Copper or if McCready or if anyone is the thing, then their blood will crawl away from a hot needle. He could be saying that conditional is a crock of shit, or that his conditional is false. Okay, his theory is false. Okay, that's what he could be saying. It's ambiguous, though. Alright, let's go back to the movie.
Let's try the Doc and Clark. Now, Clark.
And Clark was human, huh? Which makes you a murderer, don't it?
I just thought of something else. The dude was saying that McCready's a murderer. Why is he a murderer? Well, because one of the guys, those dead guys that he tested, turned out not to be a thing. Turned out to be a human. And if you kill a human, then you're a murderer. So, what that dude is saying is, if you kill a thing, you're not a murderer. If you kill a human, you are a murderer. That guy was not a thing, he was a human. Therefore, McCready's a murderer. Alright.
Palmer now.
This is pure nonsense. Doesn't prove a thing.
We're getting to the good stuff. One more thing. That old dude there, old guy, he said, the old guy is not the guy they're about to test right then. It was the guy that they showed just before that. But the old guy said, this is pure nonsense, it doesn't prove a thing. That's critical thinking, right? I think he's got the right idea. It doesn't prove a thing. Why doesn't it prove a thing? Well, stay tuned for Be My True Premises test, and we will look at why it doesn't prove a thing. He doesn't explain why it doesn't prove a thing right there, but he is right in a way. So, we'll look at that in the next Be My True Premises test. Now for the good part.
I thought you'd feel that way, Gary. You were the only one that could have got to that blood. We'll do you last.
Get away from me! McCready! What is it?
That part goes on for a while. It's pretty gruesome. I recommend you watch the rest of it. I didn't really feel like it was necessary. But great special effects in that movie. Amazing. You don't do stuff like that anymore. Anyways, so the point that was made there was a little bit different than the one about Copper earlier. I mean, how it panned out for Palmer there is different than how it panned out for Copper earlier. Okay. So remember the argument that we looked at for Copper. We'll flip over to it. In terms of Palmer now. So, it's a little bit different. If Palmer is the thing, then his blood should crawl away from a hot needle. That's the same as it was in the Copper argument. It's the second premise that's different. Well, second in the conclusion. Palmer's blood, that should say did. Palmer's blood did crawl away from the hot needle. Or crawled away from the hot needle. Therefore, Palmer is the thing, right? So the logical form of that would be, if A, then B. B, therefore A. Okay? I didn't make a slide for that. So, I mean, it would look something, it would just take those knots out, and that's what the logical form would look like. If A, then B, B, therefore A. Okay? And, you should recognize this argument form if you've done introductory logic and stuff like that, or read the critical thinking chapter on propositional logic, propositional arguments. I'm going to go into more detail and just kind of discuss these argument forms and some of the statements they're making in the next video. So, thank you for joining me. Check out Be My True Premises test.
Windows, blast him!
What do you know about an argument? What do I do with these? Come on and standardize with me. Woohoo!